I'm saying let's go. You're saying maybe. Let's find a disco. You're stuck at home being so lazy. Hey. Give me some, give me some, give me some, give me some, give me some energy. Wanna come, wanna come, wanna come, wanna come, wanna come dance with me. Give me some, give me some, give me some, give me some, give me some energy. Wanna come, wanna come, wanna come, wanna come, wanna come.
Hi, and welcome to Run Tall with Tim. I'm Tim. I'm really glad you're here. I hope you're having a great day and that you're healthy, happy, and staying safe. On today's video, I'm going to be comparing two Max Cushion daily trainers. It's the Hoka Bondi 7 versus the New Balance Fresh Foam More V3.
There's no fire without smoke, I ain't letting you go. I can see you buzzing like you can't say no. There's no fire without smoke, I ain't letting you go. Come on, let yourself be free, be the best that you can be.
Now, both of these shoes are really on the high end of a Max Cushion daily trainer. So they have tall stack heights of midsole foam underfoot. Each of them do have a rocker design to that midsole to help you flow through your gait cycle just a little bit more smoothly, but they offer a very different run experience. Before I get into it too far, I always like to demonstrate what it looks like to run in the shoes I'm about to review for you. So let's do that. But then when we come back together, I'm going to take a real deep dive into the Hoka Bondi 7, compare that with the New Balance Fresh Foam More V3 to try to answer that question, which is the right Max Cushion daily trainer for you.
We're on a journey, looking back on the things that we've taken for granted, but feels like we're learning to be better without what's been holding us back now. Let's move closer to a new history, find out what we can be together. Take my hand and we will conquer the world. This is our final chance. 'Cause one day we'll be looking back at this. We were in a big mess together. But we found a way to choose right from wrong. We found the strength to go on together. To go on together. Yeah. To go on together. To go on together. Moonlight and fire, dancing closely together and staying forever young. What about you and I then? Can we two find a way to align with each other? Let's move closer to a new history, find out what we can be together. Take my hand and we will conquer the world. This is our final chance. 'Cause one day we'll be looking back at this. We were in a big mess together. But we found a way to choose right from wrong. We found the strength to go on together.
If you're new to the channel, welcome to the Run Tall family. I'm really glad you're here and you found us in this vast universe of YouTube videos that you have to choose from. Now, I post running shoe reviews, comparisons, and shoe battles weekly. So if you enjoy watching running shoe reviews and other videos about running, be sure to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell so that you'll be notified each time that I upload new content. Now, this video is not intended to be a full review of either shoe, but if you want to check that out, I'll put a link in the description below to reviews that I've completed for each one previously. The New Balance Fresh Foam More V3 is the more expensive of the two shoes. They retail for $165 US, while the Bondi 7 costs $150 US. Now, when we start comparing the weight, they basically weigh the same. So for the Hoka Bondi 7, for a men's size 9 on my scales, they came in at 10.2 ounces or 288 grams, while the More V3, they came in at 10.1 ounces or 286 grams. Now for a women's size 8, for the Hoka Bondi 7, they came in at 8.9 ounces or 252 grams, while for the More V3, again, women's size 8, they came in at 9 ounces or 255 grams. Now both of these are neutral road shoes that I ordered true to size and they fit me perfectly. So let's take a look at the upper on each of these. Now both of them feature an engineered mesh material, but it's very different. So as we look at the Bondi 7, now this has a much more plastic feel to the touch. And you can see just how many perforations there are, because that green tint is really a liner on the inside. So as we turn and we look at the profile of the shoe, you can see that engineered mesh material comes all the way back to about the midfoot section of the shoe. And those perforations are pretty wide, so it does allow a lot of airflow. I do find that the Hoka Bondi 7 does run cooler on foot than the New Balance Fresh Foam More V3. And as we take a look at that engineered mesh material, now this is much more cloth-like. It's softer to the touch. The downside is everything seems to stick to it. I'm constantly pulling little twigs and other types of debris that seems to just cling right to that material. They do continue their perforations on back to about the midfoot section of the shoe as well. But again, the More V3 does run a little bit warmer on foot than the Hoka Bondi 7. So let's take a look at the eyelet chain and the lace enclosure system on both of these, starting with the Hoka Bondi 7 first. Here you can see that they used a really classic design. There's no big wow factor, doesn't need to be, gets the job done. They do have this extra loop down here right at the start of the eyelet chain, and that just helps reduce any kind of bunching that you get up there in the toe box. They do have this plastic overlay around the eyelets to give it some durability. They do include the extra eyelet in case you want to run with the runner's knot. I did find that the lace enclosure system is just a little bit wider here than they are on the More V3s. And I didn't feel like I had to cinch that material down quite as close together to get a nice solid lockdown feeling across the midfoot section of the shoe. And along those lines, I do feel like these fit a little bit more snug here across the midfoot section, so not quite as much room as what I felt like I have in the More V3s. Now, as we take a look at this lace enclosure system, you can see that it's a little bit different. They don't have that extra loop up here at the start of the eyelet chain, but I didn't have any bunching, so it's not a real big concern of mine. And then as we take a look at the eyelet chain, you can see it's a little bit different because they got these loops here in the center nuts to give you a little bit more of a customized fit or feel to the lockdown. And it does draw that lace enclosure system in much closer together here. And I did feel locked in and secure in both shoes. These do feel like there's a little bit more room across the midfoot section of the shoe. But again, I did feel locked in and secure in both the More V3 as well as the Hoka Bondi 7s. So let's check out the tongue on each of these shoes, starting with the Hoka Bondi 7 first. Here you can see that they've got plenty of padding here to help keep you comfortable when out running. I never felt the laces cutting across the top of my foot at all at any time. And you're going to notice right off the bat that it's not gusseted, but I didn't have any issues with it migrating around either. And they do have this loop here that you can run your laces through to help keep it from migrating around. It's got a nice wide tongue, so it laid flat across my foot. And again, I never felt like the laces were cutting across at any point in time. And the tongue length was just about perfect for me, even running with a runner's knot, which can sometimes bring that lace up a little bit higher on your foot. It felt like it was just about perfect. So I had just enough material there to help protect me. So I never felt like I was uncomfortable. Now, as we turn and we look at the More V3, here you can see that it's a little bit less padded, but still plenty of padding there. I, again, didn't feel like I ever had any kind of issues with the laces cutting across the top of my foot. Very comfortable to run in. And again, just like the Bondi 7, it's not a gusseted tongue, but it is fairly wide and it laid nice and flat across the top of my midfoot. And they too included this loop here so you can run your laces through just to give it a little extra something so it doesn't migrate around. I didn't have any issues with the tongue on either shoe, so I think both companies did a nice job. Checking out the padding around the heel collar and the tab. With the Hoka Bondi 7, now they used memory foam, and they have a lot of it. It's really comfortable to run in. Now they do have a nice solid heel pocket or well-defined heel pocket for your heel to set in, so I didn't have any heel slippage either up or down or side to side. And they do have a traditional heel counter style here with a pull tab to help get your shoes on. Looking at the More V3, they do have plenty of cushion around the heel collar as well as on the tab of the shoe. Now I think the Hoka Bondi 7 has just a little bit more, or that memory foam feels like it's just a little bit more of it there. But there's plenty here to help keep you comfortable. I never had any kind of comfort issues at all. And it does have a nice well-defined heel pocket, much like the Bondi 7 does. So I didn't have any heel slippage either up or down or side to side. And here they feature an Achilles heel flare. So not the traditional heel counter that we saw in the Bondi 7. They do not have a pull tab to help get your shoes on, but you can use that Achilles heel flare to help get your shoes on should you wish to do so. So let's take a look at the midsole. With the Hoka Bondi 7 for men, they have a 33 millimeter stack height in the heel and 29 millimeters up in the forefoot. For women, it's a little bit different, a little bit less. They have 31 millimeters in the heel and 27 millimeters up in the forefoot. But in either case, both feature a 4 millimeter offset from the heel to the toe. Now, this compressed EVA foam is really soft. It's highly cushioned to run in. Now, it did take me a little while, it felt like, for these to kind of break in or loosen up, because when I first put them on my feet and took off and started running, they didn't feel like a max cushion daily trainer, or what I thought that it should feel like. But after a couple of miles, they really did feel like they loosened up for me, and they felt really plush and comfortable to run in. And if we take a look at the geometry of the shoe, as long as I've got the profile up here, you can see that they feature a heel bevel here. They do have an early stage meta rocker, so they start curving that forefoot, fairly early, right about the start of your metatarsal head. And as I flip these over, you can see that they have a pretty wide landing platform. They got a nice wide heel area here. They narrow up just a little bit in the midfoot section, but not a lot. It's a very slight hourglass design compared to a lot of shoes that are out there today. And then if we take a look at the forefoot of the shoe, they have a nice big wide landing platform up here as well. So let's turn, we'll take a look at the New Balance Fresh Foam More V3 and see how that compares. Now here they feature their Fresh Foam X midsole material, and they have a ton of it. They have 38 millimeter stack height in the heel and 34 millimeters up in the forefoot. So very similar to Hoka in that they have a 4 millimeter offset. There's just more of it, and it's a lot more bouncy to run in. There's a lot of energy return, but they don't feel as fast as the Hoka Bondi 7s do underfoot, but they are super comfortable. And we'll take a look at as long as we have the profile up here at the geometry of the shoe. And again, they have a slight Achilles or slight bevel here in the heel, and they too have a rocker design. So it is a fairly aggressive rocker here. But we'll talk about more of that here in just a minute. And then as I flip these over, you can see that they too have a nice wide landing platform back here in the heel. They do snug up a little bit here in the midfoot section. And then as I flip these around, you can see that they have a nice wide landing platform up in the forefoot of the shoe. So they're very similar in terms of the geometry, overall geometry of the shoe. One of the things that I noticed, however, that I felt was a big difference is with the More V3, they feel pretty bouncy and can feel a little bit unstable or wobbly. And I really noticed it when I do my warm-up. So, if you follow me on Strava, you probably see that before every run, there's something, it'll be listed yoga for, 20 minutes, half an hour, something like that. Well, that's me doing some warm-up routines, some mobility exercises, and a lot of those require that I be on one foot. And they're pretty difficult to do in the More V3s because I feel like I'm kind of bouncing around just a little bit, whereas the Hoka Bondi 7s is a much more stable platform just to stand on. Now, the More V3s are super comfortable. In terms of comfort level, they are the most comfortable shoe that I've run in this entire year, but they're not the fastest, and they don't feel as fast as the Hoka Bondi 7s do. And I think primarily because with the More V3, this is a softer midsole material, and so it compresses pretty easy, and I want to say it kind of bottoms out, where with the Bondi 7, it's a more dense midsole. That compressed EVA foam feels like it's a little bit more dense, and so it maintains more of the integrity of that early stage meta rocker that they built in here, so you kind of roll through rather than kind of bottom out and then kind of move through your gait cycle. So let's flip these over and we'll take a look at the outsole, see how they're protecting all that soft midsole foam that we just looked at. With the Hoka Bondi 7, they have plenty of rubber there to help protect all of that soft compressed EVA foam, all the way from their heel through to your toe off. They do have a little bit of that EVA foam that's left unprotected there in the midfoot section of the shoe, as well as a little bit on the medial side of the shoe as well. But I think there's plenty there to help protect all of that foam, give you lots of durable miles. And then as we take a look at the Fresh Foam More V3, here you can see that they too have plenty of blown rubber there to protect that soft Fresh Foam X midsole foam. Much like the Hoka Bondi 7, they've got some exposed foam right in the midfoot section of the shoe, and then they have a little bit of exposed foam there on the lateral side of the shoe, as opposed to the medial side that we just looked at in the Bondi 7. But in both cases, I think there's plenty there to help give you a lot of durable miles. And I did feel like in both cases that it did a nice job keeping me safe and tight to the road. I didn't have any issues feeling like I was going to slip at any time, even under some wet conditions. Overall, if comfort is your main concern, then I think the New Balance Fresh Foam More V3s are going to be the ticket for you. Now, they do run a little bit warm on foot, and that midsole can feel a little bit unstable because it is a little bit bouncy at times. But overall, it's the most comfortable shoe that I've run in for 2021. Now, if you're looking for a little more stability, but you still want a lot of cushion and maybe be able to pick up the pace a little bit, then I think the Hoka Bondi 7 might be the right shoe for you. Hey, thanks for making it to the end. I greatly appreciate it. I hope you enjoyed it. I enjoyed making it for you. As always, run tall, run strong, be kind to one another. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.